Hello everybody, and welcome to one more video on big units. And this time it's not, not that big unit, but it's in fact some core support for the third corps of the Iraqi army, particularly around the Kuwait invasion, so the Gulf War, as it is called, plenty of time, even if there is several Gulf Wars, as everybody know. But it can also be some artillery for an infantry division, and some generic anti-aircraft groups that can be used in several corps, I suppose, and even some navy, particularly for the amphibious operations, for the attacks that the Iraqis planned around Khafji, which was in fact, theoretically it was a nice plan, coming by land and then also landing some commandos on the back of the Allied forces. But in fact, making this, with all the aircraft power that the coalition had, it turned out to be not a very good idea. So let's see what's on top of the table. So you see here the famous D30 Howitzers, 122mm D30s. These are Skytrex models, with mostly Skytrex American figures, dressed as Iraqis, of course. There is virtually no big change. There are also some irregular miniatures, and there are 6 of these models. Everything in metal. Also metal. You see here this 152mm Howitzers. They are irregular miniatures. Very nice models, and everything is all the guys that are operating them are also irregular miniatures. There are some forward observers here by SHQ and Skytrex. Also some conversions. I don't know exactly what I used to make these 130mm guns, the M46, with an extra long barrel. I made it shorter because as this thing is glued to the rest of the gun, it would break. So I use a shorter barrel. It should be slightly longer. This is an extremely long gun. For wheels, I use, I think, if I'm not mistaken, some 43rd scale racing car wheels in resin. It stayed more or less. It is cute, at least. It became a proxy, not a proxy war, but a proxy model. So I think I used some irregular miniatures shields and this the legs also are, if I'm not mistaken, are irregular miniatures, but there's plenty of scratch built small pieces around. And Skytrex crew. Then there are some 85mm guns also irregular miniatures, with some irregular miniatures, crew, and even there is an Eshi officer here, another Eshi officer over there, but most of the crew are irregular miniatures. So some reconnaissance also. The PT-76, there is a this one is the heavy one, I think. Yeah, this one is the half a kilo PT-76 by Skytrex, exactly. And this one is a repainted Altaya. Now entering my favorite and the one that gave more trouble, which is the anti-aircraft artillery. So you see here some towed 85mm Soviet guns, with what? With airfix. The guy looking by the binoculars with a new head, of course, and the others are. I think the guy sitting is also airfix, converted figure with M1 helmets, and the other ones are, if I'm not mistaken, I think they are Soviet. They are Soviet World War II Skytrex figures, and the rest is, the other one is more or less the same. Then you see some whoops, some yes, there was a small accident. Some pickups here. It can be used as a command car, whatever. And then you can place this thing, which is a small base of I don't remember if these ones are 3D printed or my own ZU-23 double barrel. I really can't. But whatever. I think these ones, yeah, these ones are scratch built, and you can place them right like this on the back of the car, and it becomes an AA pickup. Okay, with the yeah, Atlantic figures. So now I placed this one here for you to see what you can do. So you can buy one of those cheap 164 pickups. There are plenty of models by Matchbox, by Hot Wheels, whatever. Then you have to be careful cutting the base in order for it to fit on the back. So this one will suffer the same fate as the other, and it will become a pickup. Okay, of course, painted Iraqi sand, Vallejo Iraqi sand in the future, of course. Just for you to see. Now there are some gainful, some SA6 gainful. Am I saying the correct? Yeah, designation. Yeah, these are the gainful. So long-range anti-aircraft missiles. These ones are Cromwell. These two here, and this one is the more modern, eventually more accurate. I'm not sure. SA6 gainful by Altaya. So repainted die-cast model. This one has these rails, and while these rails here for the Cromwell ones had to be made, had to be scratch built, because this model doesn't carry them, which is a pity, in fact, because the SA6 without rails, I mean, it's not very logical. There is a Planet, if I'm not mistaken, Planet model. You can find it also on Nerfix, but probably only on eBay. There is the SA2 guideline, a very nice model, like Planet models from an Eastern company. Planet models, I don't know if it is Czech Republic, Poland, Moldavia, I'm not sure. Well, one of them. And the model is resin. It's very, very beautiful, with some metal Skytrex and Irregular Miniatures figures. Or is it only? Yeah, exactly. There is this blast protector for the missile to go up, which is a very, very interesting addition. But in fact, everything came on the model. Now for something completely scratch built, it is this SA8. It is in fact my favorite because it gave me a lot of trouble. I mean, I used a 1/100th model by QRF. I have several of them for my Syrians that I've showed you already in the past. And then I calculated those 100th, those 100th, 1/100th, 15 millimeter, easier to say, models, and I increased a little bit, at least 1/3, of course, the size of everything, and it gave this, which is, I think, quite nice. It is, of course, relatively easy to do because it is filled with straight lines. I mean, when you have round lines, I just don't have the capacity to do that. But everything that is straight lines, you can do them somehow by scratch building. So plenty of evergreen was spent on this model, and I only had the courage to make one because it was extremely, it was a lot of work. Almost getting to an end. You have a PT6 boat. It is in fact that one over there. You can see that PT-15 Japanese Tamiya boat converted into a P6. Is it P6? I think so. Yeah, P6. Soviet boat. So plenty of details were added, of course. Turrets were made, scratch built, plenty of scratch built parts. Almost nothing from that is on the top of the deck was used, unless the figures that were all used. They are spread a little bit all over. The Tamiya figures, 1/72 Tamiya figures, but the rest is everything is scratch built. Of course, the hull was the piece I wanted from the PT-15 Tamiya boat. I was thinking when I was buying it many years ago, I was thinking that I would buy a Japanese World War II PT-15. I was thinking that the PT-15 was a World War II torpedo boat. In fact, it wasn't. It was a modern one. So it ended up by becoming a Soviet P6 on the service of the Iraqi Navy. Also, these small landing crafts that were also used. In fact, these are fast boats, and they have a large bay for you to place figures inside. There are ZU-23, and I think these ones are BPM, yeah, 3D printed. Again, with some plastic figures. There's a driver also, and it became a little bit different thing with the Republican Guard triangle, which I think it was used here. I'm not really sure. I don't remember. I found these pictures on the web of them stranded on some Saudi Arabian beach, and I made 2 of them. So this was the kind of boats that were used on the attacks, on the sea attacks around Khafji by the Iraqi army, probably under coordination of the 3rd Corps. I mean, most probably. So this is it. This is the last part that I wanted to show you about the land operations by the Iraqi. Now there is only a 4th video after the 3rd Saladin, the mechanized 5th division, and so this is the last part of the Iraqis for the land operations. Next video I'll try to post aviation, and that one will be a little bit bigger because I overreacted with Iraqi aviation. I have too much stuff, simply. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed, and see you next with another video on the Iraqi armed forces. Okay, bye bye.